Today, we're going to get into some really great content. One thing that I want to give you guys as we do these calls, we will do the Q&A shortly, and we'll make sure that every question's answered. But I want to do a better job at teaching you guys things that I'm learning and things that I'm developing. And so, can we do that? Can I teach you guys something that's going to really help you guys as you are building your brands, building your digital businesses, and really trying to monetize your expertise? Can we do that? Can I share with you guys a cool framework that I developed? Okay, so what I want to be sharing with you guys today is how to frame your expertise. Basically, what we're going to be talking about is a framework for developing frameworks. So just to kind of share with you guys a story about what I've had the opportunity to build. You guys know my story as far as becoming a content creator. I started creating content like over a decade ago. I went to the University of Miami to study film. And this was like right when social media was just like starting to kind of become a thing. There was no such thing as becoming like a full-time influencer or a full-time content creator. Maybe there were some people on YouTube, but it wasn't like it is right now. But I remember everything like that. I went to film school at the University of Miami. It was like a $200,000 tuition. It was insane. And I wasn't even there most of the time because I was too busy partying and doing drugs. That's a different story for a different day. But the days that I was there was one thing that I learned in film school that has stuck with me ever since I was there. And I would say that thing that I learned was truly the price of admission because it changed everything about how I see communication. And what I learned was the framework for storytelling. You guys have heard me talk about the 4P vision narrative, this narrative arc, this structure that which we tell stories, whether it's in long form movies or emails or books or even sales pages. It's all built off of this framework. And it's a very simple framework, but the expandability of this framework is incredible. And it's a timeless framework. So when I was going through school, I was getting all this information, wasn't learning or wasn't remembering most of it. There was one thing that absolutely changed my life and changed my career because it was a simple framework that I realized was eternal. It wasn't dependent on algorithms or trends or fads. It was a simple way of understanding communication that now I've built my entire business around. Fast forward to now me applying that framework of storytelling and creating content and becoming a full-time content creator in less than a year. And now moving into this chapter of, okay, now I'm not just creating content, now I'm teaching others how I do what I do. And okay, so I'm looking at I'm having all these people reach out to me. More people now reaching out to me than ever. Like trying to just figure out what's their voice, what's their message, what's their brand? How do they go out there and actually affect change and find their audience? And so now I'm in this place where like people are coming to me and they're asking questions. You guys are coming to me and you guys are asking questions. And now I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I distill what I know into something that's really easy to translate? And what I've discovered is like, man, it's hard. It's hard to take all of this knowledge that you've learned about things and like boil it down and make it simple and make it easy to translate. Am I talking to anybody here? We got Mitchell, who is really, God has put you in a position where you're really trying to help people understand how to share the faith with people from an Islamic background. Like that, there's a lot there. There's so much there that she's trying to distill. It's really challenging to try to impart all of this information to other people, especially when the thing that you're an expert in is so big. But you know what's cool? I've been thinking a lot about, you guys know me as a guy who's a Christian, as a guy who I've built my whole life around being a follower of Jesus. What I've discovered about Jesus is he is the greatest communicator in human history. He is the Word of God. He's not just the greatest communicator, he is also the greatest content. Can I get an amen from somebody in the chat? He is the standard. And what I've realized is we can learn everything we want to learn about business, everything we want to learn about finances, everything we want to learn about marketing and communication and content from the guy himself. And what's really interesting about Jesus is if you think your mission's hard, you think you trying to communicate your message is hard, he had a message. He was trying to communicate the kingdom of heaven. Like, oh my gosh, that's a task. He had this message and this mission of the kingdom of heaven. How did he break it down? He broke it down into parables. He broke it down into stories. In fact, if I could go even deeper, he broke it down into frameworks. I'll give you an example. He was going around and he was sharing this parable about the 4 soils. He's like, there's a soil that's basically hard as rock. There's a soil that's, crowded and like stony. There's a soil that's got all these thorns and thistles, and then there's the good soil. What was he talking about? He's talking about your heart's ability to receive the message of the word, and then for that to be able to transform your life. Well, what did he do? He took this crazy concept that we can't wrap our heads around like you having a soul and you having a heart, and your heart being able to receive this message called the word, and your ability to actually receive that thing. How do you wrap it? Well, what did he do? He put it into a framework, a 4-step framework that now we've been talking about for thousands of years. That's what I want to help you guys do today. It's a very simple thing, but basically it's a framework to create your own frameworks. And if you can do this well, I'm telling you, this will change the way that you serve your audience, and it'll change the way that you can even monetize your expertise and package it up into different levels. You can create free lead magnets with this framework. You can create books and courses and masterminds and coaching programs and blah, 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 blah. All of it can be built off of this one framework. I'll give you one final example and then I'll show you this. Guys, this is what I've done with my own business. You guys have heard me talk about the 6M framework for building a digital business and a digital mission and a digital ministry. Your mission, your message, media, marketing, monetization, multiplication. That's 6 M's. What I've done is I've taken that 6 M's, created lead magnets out of it, created a coaching program out of it, created a course out of it, writing a book with it. You see what I mean? You create the framework. There's so many different ways that you can package it and structure it to be able to serve other people. Okay, let's talk about how to actually build this thing. You guys ready? I'm going to teach you how to do this. And here's what I've done. I've created a framework for creating frameworks, and it literally is an acronym. All right, you're going to see it on the screen. You guys can see the vibe board on the screen, right? Okay, so I got to write it out over here because it's like tripping out on that side. Okay, so here's the first. The first letter for frame is F. What is this? This is find the patterns of success. Okay? So, for example, let's just say that you're someone who wants to help people restore their marriage, okay? Obviously, you would be most inclined to be able to help somebody do that if you had a marriage that was falling apart and then by the grace of God, you figured out a way to fix it, right? So you look at what you've done and look at, okay, what was the pattern of success? What worked? Why is that? Why people are coming to me asking me to help them solve this problem. And by the way, if you're wondering what your expertise is, ask yourself, what is the thing that people continually come to me asking for help with? There's probably a grace there. Follow the favor. If people are asking you for help in that one area, it's probably because they see a pattern of success in your life that you might not be able to see in yourself. So maybe that'll just help somebody out today who's trying to figure out what your expertise is. Find the patterns of success for yourself, but also find the patterns of success in other people. So for me, if someone were to ask the question, Cap, how do I make a video go viral? Well, I'm going to look at the videos that I have done that have gone viral. I'm going to look at the patterns of success. But not only that, I'm going to look at other videos from other people that consistently go viral. And what am I doing? I'm aggregating that data to find the patterns. Does that make sense? That's the first letter, F. Find the patterns of success. The second letter, R, is once you find the patterns of success, you want to reverse engineer. You want to reverse engineer the process. So again, for the example that I just shared, so let's say if people are asking me how to create viral videos, I'm going to take all these videos that I've done that have gone viral, I'm going to find the patterns of success, then I'm going to take a video that I've done and I'm actually going to reverse engineer the process. I'm going to ask the question, what did I do to actually make that video? What was my hook like? What was my lighting like? How long was the video? What was I wearing in the video? You see what I mean? It's gonna take some time to do this, but you do this research on the front end and this will change the game and how you can communicate this and help other people do the same thing, right? So you start asking those questions like, how did this thing actually get put together? So you find the patterns of success, you reverse engineer the process. Letter A is now, once you've created the process and you kind of broke down, like, here's the different things that have happened that I did, then you begin to attribute meaning to each step. Okay? So, for example, people asking, okay, Cap, how do we create viral worthy videos? I've looked at the videos that I've done that are successful. I start to reverse engineer the process. Now I'm looking at each step and now I'm attributing meaning to it. Okay, so I'm looking at this hook that I did. In this hook, I used 5 words versus 30 words. Okay, so the meaning of that to me is short and sweet is better than long and clunky. Or maybe I'm looking at a hook in a video and I realize, oh my goodness, in this video, I said how to create a viral video and it didn't really go anywhere. And in this video hook, I said, if I could start all over again in video creation, I would do this one thing. What? Wow, that's crazy. They're both the same content, but the hook and the second one is way more provocative and confrontational and dramatic. So what am I doing? Now I'm attributing meaning to whatever to those steps to try to bring some understanding to it. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go on to the next one. The next one is M. Okay, so if F is find the patterns of success, R is reverse engineer the process, A is attribute meaning to each step, M is model it memorably. This is where people usually get stuck. Here's what you're going to discover. The more you do what you do, you're going to discover that there are some subconscious competencies behind how you do what you do that you don't even know how to explain it. People ask you, well, how do you do this? And you're like, I don't really know. I just kind of do this and do this. But then when you see someone do it their way and you start to grade how you do it versus how they do it, you start to see those differences and you're like, oh, that's what's happening. You're doing it this way, but this is how I do it. So this process is going to help you actually discover the gifts and the geniuses that God's given you and how to actually frame that. But this part at the bottom for modeling it memorably, this is where most people get stuck. Because we think, well, I'm just going to give you all of the information. I'm going to give you this whole book, this whole dissertation on how to create a viral worthy video. It's going to be information overload to people, which is really interesting in how Jesus specifically, it says he always spoke to the crowds in a parable or a story or a framework, and he never spoke to them without that. Why? Because he was trying to package it in a way that was it could get in their heart, it could do its work, and it would bring out this curiosity of where they could come back, ask for more, and then he could give them the dissertation. You see what I'm saying here? So how do you actually model it memorably? Well, there's 3 things you got to do to model it memorably. And when I'm talking about modeling it, I mean like this. I took the whole concept of creating a framework and I made it a model that you can easily remember. Take the word frame, F-R-A-M-E, now it's something you can actually remember. You guys tracking? Does this make sense? Because if you can do this, I'm telling you, this will unlock everything for you in regards to well, what's my first course going to be? It's going to be off of your framework. You create the framework and then you expand it into a course. Maybe make each one of these a module. The same way for me in my course, my 6 M's, each one's a module. You write a book, each one of these is a chapter. You see what I mean? This is going to be how you can boil it down for people. In order to make it memorable, it's got to do these 3 things. Number 1, it has to be true. If you're creating a framework and it doesn't actually work, if the frame doesn't work, it's not a framework. It has to be true. It has to actually be something where it's not just cute, it's not just clever, it's got to actually work. If it works, that's the first thing, you're off to the races. Like, that's great. But it can't just work. It also has to be easy. I'm not saying that the work itself is easy. I'm saying remembering it is easy. Does that make sense? Like, when I share with you the 4P vision narrative, remembering the 4Ps is pretty easy. Person, problem, plan, promise. Person, problem, plan, promise. Person, problem, plan, promise. Remembering it is easy. Doing it isn't necessarily easy. Remembering it is what's easy, right? It's got to be easy to remember. Now, the third thing, this is like a bonus tip. If you can do this, like, gangsta. This is like elite level. If you can hit this, like, you got a butter framework. You got to start monetizing that and packaging it like crazy. It's got to be fun. It's got to be something where they're like, oh, that's delightful. Oh, I can remember that. Oh, that's a good picture. You guys remember how in like the Kingdom Creator Challenge, when I did the dreams framework for monetization, dreams, donations, rev sharing, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, memberships, services. And I had that GIF of SpongeBob, and he was like doing the imagination thing, like imagination. And that was like the main picture for dreams. We want it to be fun, because if we can hang a mental picture in your mind of what the model is, you'll never forget it. So how can you make it fun? I'll give you another example of how we're doing this. Like, even in the 6M framework, I'm having our team, we're recreating the way that we visualize it. They might not know this yet, because I just came up with this the other day. So Alini, just buckle up. We're gonna turn it into looking like this. We first had it like a pyramid, where it was like this, where it was like mission, message, media, marketing, blah, 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 okay? Pyramid, that works. It's not that fun. It's like, it's kind of boring. It kind of looks like if I was at a corporate job in corporate America, it's like, here's the flow chart. It's like, okay, it works, but it's not fun. How do we make it fun? Oh, I have an idea. I'm gonna turn it into a tree. Oh boy, watch out, folks. And the tree has 3 parts. You ready for the 3 parts? You got the root. Hold up. I gotta make sure you guys can see this. Here you go. The root, the shoot, and the fruit. Ooh, you like that? It rhymes. Rhyming's fun. We love rhyming. So, root, what's that? That's what's happening underneath the surface. That's the stuff that no one sees, but without that, nothing actually grows. What do I have here? I got the mission and the message. This is before you ever start creating content. That's the root. That's the root of your personal brand. What's the shoot? The shoot is the execution. The shoot is when you're actually doing the work and building the thing. And what does that include? That includes your media, and that includes your marketing. Well, okay, great. So you're doing that, but then, like, how do you actually get rewarded from it? Aha, that's the fruit. That's the top of it. That's monetization. It's when you start making money with it, and then multiplication, when you start expanding it. Isn't that cool? So now you're looking at this, and as we create this visual, people won't be able to forget it, because now, what is it? It's true, it's easy, and now it's fun. Now you can actually see it and see that picture in your mind, okay? The final letter is E. E. And what's this? This is expand its usability. So this is when you've created that framework, this is your ability to take that and turn it into a free version. We talk about doing the 5 email e-course, right? 5 days, 1 little email that goes out to the person each of those days in exchange for their email address. The 5 secrets to wow without boo, even if you're greatest insecurity. What can you do? Well, maybe your framework is 7 letters or 7 steps. Make it a 7-day thing, 7 secrets, and then each day is one of those secrets or those things in your model. Does that make sense? I don't want you guys to get tied to like it has to be 5. 5's a great number, but you don't want it to be like a 30-step framework. Why? Why do you think you don't want it to be a 30-step framework? Because it's not easy to remember. So how can you distill it down to something very easy to remember, true, easy to remember, and fun. And then you can expand that thing like crazy, the same way that we're doing with our lead magnets, the course, the coaching program, books, all in masterminds, etc. Okay? So again, to summarize, why do you want to do this? You want to do this because in order for your audience to actually receive the message that you want to share with them, you got to distill it into something that they can take and run with. Also, for your own business and your own ministry's sake, this is going to help you so that you don't have to you can, number one, you can distill your expertise in a way that's easily that people can grab onto. And number two, this creates the continuity throughout your entire ecosystem where you're not having to recreate the wheel. You're just expanding the usability of that framework. Does that make sense? So for you guys, I would encourage you, if you've begun doing the coaching thing with me and you've been creating the content, but you haven't created your own intellectual property, I would spend some time this week and I would do this. Number one, remember, what's your mission? What's the problem that you're called to solve? What is the problem that you're called to solve? Ideally, it's a problem that you've solved before. You are most qualified to help the previous version of you. Remember in the 4P vision narrative, that third P plan, what's the plan you want to give somebody? Maybe just go back and really get this framework clear. Go back, get the framework clear, because if you can get that clear, there's no reason why in the next 30 to 60 days you can't create your first course, you can't start selling it and serving more people and monetizing your mission. Make sense? That was a little longer than usual, but I hope that training was very helpful for you guys.